Bears and Rams and Monday Night Football at 8 p.m. right here on ESPN. And some news for you from Jeff Dickerson, our Bears reporter. Bears outside linebacker Khalil Mack did not practice on Friday because of a back injury, but Nagy has said he's not worried about it. So just something to keep an eye on, certainly, for that game on Monday night that'll finish out a great Week 7. How about this? It's getting a little chilly in here. You guys feel that? The snowflakes are falling in the NFL Live studio. Guys, the Chiefs heading out to Denver to take on the Broncos, and we may have our first snow game of the year. The weather forecast currently calls for a 70% chance of snow with a high of 21 degrees, a low of just 8.
Your first real snow game. Was that fun?
It was awesome. Dime, I'm throwing dimes. Maybe I can spin it in anything. I'll get us in the end zone. Hello, Daddy. Nice high.
They throw near side, touchdown! And Frosty the Snowman can drink the sweet nectar of the end zone.
I'll spin this in anything. I'll spin this in anything.
I mean, he's a special guy. I've never seen anybody throw the ball like that in the snow, that's for sure.
I think I'm a snow game guy. I don't know why, but I kind of like it.
All right, so definitely was telling you guys that apparently Patrick Mahomes likes to play in the snow, and it's going to be snowy there in Denver. It's snowy here, too. Just kidding. Marcus, what do you think about the Chiefs in another possible snow game? Does it affect their offense in any way?
I mean, obviously, when you check your footing and you make sure everything right, no. Listen, we showed Mahomes highlights, but I think back to Tyreek Hill in the snow, still being able to burn past people and stick his foot in the ground and go the opposite direction. Patrick Mahomes will be fine. They play in Kansas City. We watched them in the playoffs have a lot of success in the snow last season, so I think they'll be fine. It brings a different element, a different challenge, obviously, but when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes and when you have an offensive coordinator like Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, they'll figure out ways to manufacture yards in the snow in case one of the elements take away something they want to do offensively. I'm not worried about Patrick Mahomes at all in the snow.
Yeah, we also have an additional element for the Chiefs offense. Not like they needed any extra help, but Le'Veon Bell will be playing key for the first time with the Chiefs. What might we see out of him?
You're going to see some pretty good stuff, I promise you that. And here's why, and Marcus can speak to this. In the NFL, players got a few things that they look for. They look to get their money, and they look to get their respect from their coaches. When he joined the New York Jets, he figured, okay, I'll get my money. That means I'm going to get my respect. He lost respect when Adam Gase said what he said about his money. So therefore, he became a free agent here recently when they released him. He made a decision to go to Kansas City because he looked at Andy Reid, and Andy Reid said to him, I can do wonders with you because you can still play. He already got his money, so that's out the way, Laura. You don't have to worry about that. The respect level. I coach Staley, I coach Westbrook, I coach Shady McCoy, and you see what I'm doing with this young fella from LSU. I'm bringing you here to somewhat split time and mentor him. Nothing's wrong with Le'Veon as a player. Well, how many snaps he gets on Sunday? Who knows? But he will be effective at some point in time for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, you mentioned that young guy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hasn't been as productive in the red zone. Le'Veon Bell, very productive in the red zone, so you wonder how that factors in as well. The Broncos actually just one of 3 teams that Bell has never faced before, so he gets an opportunity to see them for the first time. All right, let's get to some more games in Week 7. The 49ers taking on the Patriots. And however you feel about the trade now, both of these quarterbacks appear to be playing it safe in their offensive schemes. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and Cam Newton. And as I mentioned, Cam Newton trails only Drew Brees in terms of fewest air yards per pass attempt, while Jimmy Garoppolo ranks as the 4th fewest on this list. He also joins Joe Burrow as the only starting QB without 30 air yard completions this season. So Marcus and Key on the Patriots in this one. Mina is picking the 49ers. But, Mina, let's talk about Cam. Obviously coming off of his worst game this season for the Patriots, certainly coming off of some missed time ahead of that. Not a whole lot of practice time, but how important is it for him to have a bounce-back game against the 49ers?
It's huge. He's actually coming off of a couple of bad games, Laura. And while San Francisco does have a good defense, I actually think they present a real opportunity for this Patriots offense that's been significantly better against zone defenses. And there's some obvious reasons for that. Those receivers can't separate at all against man. But I also think Josh McDaniels is really good at dialing up mismatches against zone, getting Julian Edelman on linebackers, And you saw that in the Seattle game, which was Cam's best performance of the season. Him hitting those cover 3 beaters, the deep crossers, the wheel routes. They can do that against San Francisco because I don't think that Robert Saleh coach defense is going to deviate from their tendencies. They're going to do what they do, play zone coverage. It's up to Cam to deliver, execute, and beat them with the game plan that I know they can have.
Mina's right about that. It's up to Cam, and I believe Cam will bounce back. If you go back on the timeline and you think about it, from the COVID issues to the point where he played last week and didn't look very good, he had about a practice and a half. In that session, who knows what was going on in that practice and a half that he had? You got to think, okay, so he had a poor game last week against Denver, not so great against the Raiders out of Las Vegas. Then when you think about the Seattle game, you have to say Seattle and Miami are the games that you're looking for in Cam Newton. And I think he will do it against San Francisco. He knows the importance. He knows what the whispers are saying out there about his ability and his play. He understands that. And I think a lot of people, Marcus, they look at him, and one of the first things that come to mind is he's injury prone. He's injury prone. He missed all of last year. Outside of that, he had about 5 games that he missed due to injury in his entire career except for 2019.
Key, that's a great point. Listen, we make a big deal about Cam performance because we know how much is riding on Cam performing well in this particular system, in this particular offense, regarding his future. And we saw Jimmy G get benched by Kyle Shanahan, come back the next week and bounce back. I fully expect the same thing from Cam in a bounce back game. And Key talked about the time missed. This is the thing with me when we start talking about the New England Patriots. He has now the ability to prepare. And when you have the ability to prepare with Bill Belichick every single day in the building, on the practice field, that is so different than trying to keep up and get everything understood from the standpoint of doing Zooms or just being a part of team functions when you don't know if you're playing or not playing at all. So the time with him and Josh McDaniels to get back on the field, get things corrected. We heard Dan talk about some of the quarterback mechanical things that can get fixed right away. I look forward to seeing Cam perform against San Francisco because this is one of the chapters in a 17-week season, 17-week season where we'll judge Cam Newton's future based on not only the bad games, how he bounced back from those bad games, and is he a quarterback you feel like you can go further with into the future. I look forward to seeing him perform because these are for Cam. These games have more significance, I would say, than any other quarterback in the league. Based on him being out last year, coming signing with New England, playing under this deal that he's playing with, he has a lot to continue to prove as far as getting back in the swing of things, and I look forward to seeing him perform.
Mina, are we giving Kyle Shanahan enough credit? He's kept this 49ers team afloat despite being decimated by injuries, dealing with some issues with Jimmy G. Certainly he didn't play great when he came back from injury and then looked a lot better after that. What do you think about Shanahan's job so far?
I think Shanahan's done a fantastic job, and I think last week was a great example of that. Jimmy G is proven to not be a quarterback who really elevates his offense. That game was basically quarterback proof. I mean, he'll deliver those underneath throws accurately, but, Kyle's not asking Jimmy to do much more, and I think that's going to be the case against this New England defense. If I'm New England, if I'm Bill, I look at how Miami defended Jimmy G successfully, right? And of course, Brian Flores comes from Bill's tree. I take away the middle of the field. I force him to throw it outside. That New England secondary, they are disciplined, they are smart. This presents a very difficult challenge for Jimmy. I think Kyle's going to take the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, guys, actually the 7th quarterback to both start for and against Bill Belichick. You wonder what he's got to prove maybe against Bill. We got so much more coming your way on NFL Live. Kyler Murray has been compared sometimes to Russell Wilson. Ahead of their Week 7 matchup, Russ has taken notice of the protege.
I'm proud to see just his work ethic and success and doing it for the shorter guys. But he's been special for sure.